dough that cooks up super crackly, and if you layer it as you put it together, then those layers kind of separate and become crunchy. It's so good in things like baklava. So that's kind of where my mind went when I saw this recipe, especially since it has like a honey glaze and nuts as well, similar to baklava. That's where my mind went. So we're going to start off making the apple and sweet potato portion of it, and then we'll move on to actually assembling everything. The one interesting thing about this is that the recipe was written, I think, it doesn't have the brand name in the ingredients for the phyllo dough, but I think it had a specific brand in mind because of how you construct it. So if you take a look at the picture, basically it's two side-by-side rows of these little mini strudels, right? And the way the recipe is written is you construct it so that they fit perfectly like that in the pan. The brand that I tried to get, a phyllo, would have done that, would have fit perfectly in the pan, but I had to get phyllo from somewhere else. For some reason they were sold out at the store. I guess there's been a rush of phyllo dough this year. So I had to get phyllo that's a little bit bigger. So I think I'm gonna have to, this is the pan that the recipe calls for, but I think I'm gonna have to use one slightly bigger. It's gonna kind of depend on how much mincemeat I have so that I can make sure I have enough to kind of make them bigger, so it's not like all phyllo and no filling, you know what I mean? So
let's get all phyllo and no feel, you know what I'm saying?
So actually, before we even start the sweet potato and apple, I'm going to make sure I have enough mincemeat to kind of make the larger ones. Otherwise, we'll maybe cut the phyllo to better fit the pan. So I've got some mixed fruit that I just kind of put together to kind of augment the mincemeat I had. So I've got a ton of this. This is all steeped in brandy, so these are very happy dried fruit. And then I got the actual mincemeat left over from when we made pies. So let's see how much we have of this. The recipe for the regular portion is about 1.5 cups. Wait, was it 1.5 cups or 1.75 cups? 1.75 cups. So let's see how much we got to work with here.
Your said original pies, by the way. They turned out very lovely.
Yeah, they turned out really well this year. I was very happy with them. I actually made the dough thicker than I normally would, and I think they turned out better for it. I also used the round cookie cutter or pastry cutter for the base instead of the fluted ones. I still use the fluted cutter for the tops, but not the inside, and that may have also made a difference. I don't know. Whatever I did, they turned out good this year. Alright, so I got about 3/4 cup there actually of the regular mincemeat. Just gonna wash my hands. I got a bunch of sticky mincemeat goo on my fingers. Hey, no face stab, how's it going?
Howdy, howdy.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. The mincemeat pies I see in the US are typically, you know, full-on regular size pies. But I'd never seen those until coming to the US. In England, you pretty much always see mini pies for mincemeat pies because they're like a nice afternoon tea type treat, you know? All right, let's see how much of this augment fruit I have. Probably about 1 cup. Okay, so that means I probably only have enough filling for the regular size recipes. So I think what I'll do instead then is I will just trim down the phyllo pastry that I have so it fits the dimensions that the recipe expects. Because if I try using the really large ones with this amount of mincemeat, it's probably not going to be enough filling. It's just going to be all dough.